to our single parent support group. I hope that you guys were able to watch last week so you could find out about being alone versus being lonely and being alone and all that freedom and good stuff that comes with it, right? Reinvent yourself and just, enjoy it instead of being in the place of lack. You're coming from a place of, you know, all this good stuff, what you do have. So we're going to talk about unpacking guilt today. So I am very famous for feeling guilty, right? So I felt very guilty even before I left my marriage, I felt very guilty and heavy because I felt like I was ruining my daughter's life. Actually, I was told I was ruining my daughter's life. And I felt that I was the cause of all this, and, if I could suck it up, then maybe it would be better and I could just stay. And I knew I couldn't do that wasn't the right choice for my daughter or the right choice for me. We had to keep moving forward, and, I wanted her to have a good life. I wanted to be a good role model. I wanted to show her what a happy relationship looked like. So I ended up getting out, but obviously it wasn't easy, and I did carry guilt for a long time. So guilt looks different to everybody. You could feel guilty for not doing something, for doing something, for not saying something, but either way, guilt is associated with shame. You feel shameful, like we did something wrong, and then it's embarrassing, right? Sometimes we did something and we're embarrassed, and it just doesn't feel good. So I looked up the definition of guilt because I wanted to see what it said. It says the fact of having committed a specified or implied. Sorry, I can't read today. Let's try again. The fact of having committed a specified or implied offense or crime. I read that and it felt so heavy. I felt like, ugh, wonder why guilt makes us feel like crap. It's just like you're, accusing yourself, like living in like that horrible place of what did I do wrong, right? What did I do wrong now? That's exactly what we don't want to be. It creates so much like stress and anxiety, and it keeps you low, and guilt comes up when you least expect it. I remember, when I first got divorced and I was I'm doing joint custody, and I was just walking and I would see people with their kids and I would feel like guilty that I wasn't enjoying this day with my daughter, that I wasn't having that time with her. I felt guilty that I didn't have that time, that I wasn't going to do all the things that I used to do. And it's really hard. So some people get hung up on guilt because they feel like they need to explain themselves to people and justify the decisions. So you might feel guilty because people don't understand. And truth be told, some family and friends are very good at playing the guilt card, right? We all have people that know how to push our buttons and say, okay, make you feel guilty for things that you did not do, or things that you did, choices you made. That is not up to anybody else but you, right? Your decisions are your decision. You can't please the world. And sometimes we feel guilty for things we think we did. And I was trying to come up with a good movie reference, and the only thing I couldn't come up with was Simba and the Lion King. The whole time he thought that he had killed his dad, when he didn't at all. It was actually Scar, his uncle. But he was carrying the guilt so long that he ended up running off into the forest and meeting Pumbaa and Timon. So it ended up happy, but that guilt, he carried that guilt, right? So we don't want to carry that guilt with us because it doesn't serve us. It doesn't do anything. So tactics, right? This is how we can start to unpack our guilt. First thing we need to think about is, why are we feeling guilty, right? Why is it weighing on us so much? What is it that's triggering this heavy guilt? And then we need to think, could I have controlled this? Right? This is a big deal because I don't feel like we take enough credit for things that we can't control. We seem to think we can just fix everything. We can't fix people. We can't fix situations in the world that we don't have any stake in. If your son, misses purple shirt day at school because he was at his, mother or father's house and they missed it and they're complaining to you and you feel guilty that you weren't there to micromanage and make sure you had the purple shirt, then you're feeling heavy about it. That is not your guilt to carry, right? So let's try to release that. I know, from my daughter, there's several things I can name. I have like 10 of them, but she always tells the same story that we went roller skating when she was little and she had the little cart thing and she's going along and I'm pushing her on the little cart and I tripped and I fell and I rolled over her fingers and she still tells the story, right? So guilt can stay with you. In fact, every time we go roller skating, she reminds me of this story. But the key to get over this is open the big picture, right? So see why you feel guilty. Think, could you have controlled it? And what is a big picture? Because let's face it, and most times, like the roller skating thing, I was doing the best I could. Nobody said I was coordinated, right? No. So you're doing the best you can, and you have to accept that with grace. Say, you know what, it's okay. People might not understand, but I did the best I can. And then another key to it, if you really want to turn around, is think, what did I learn from this, right? What did I learn from this situation that made me so heavy, that made me feel so guilty? You can learn from it. You can speak from that space. And another thing is you can move from grace, right? You can say, okay, it's okay. So maybe you forgot it was soccer practice, or maybe, you brought your daughter to school on a day that there was no school. And, sometimes that just happens. And you have to have grace to say, you know what, it's okay. I did the best I could at the time, at that situation. And you can use gratitude, right? So you can feel really, bad that things didn't work out with you and your ex, or your children are having a hard time, but then you have to switch to gratitude. Okay, well, it's not perfect now, but it's getting better. So you can move in a different space and different energy, so better things are coming. If you carry that guilt with you, guess what? Your energy is going to stay down low. Just to be like, oh, well, we can't do this, and we can't do this, and we're missing this. If you come from guilt, then you're still in the lacking space. You're still in the heavy space, and you want to move from there. Now, some things you can do not to get stuck in guilt. Get support. You need to talk to somebody about it if it's really weighing you down. You can write a letter. If you need to write a letter to somebody to get it, say get it out of your mind, get it on the paper, just get it out of you so it's no longer holding you down. Just write a letter. It's up to you if you want to send it, depending who you're writing to. That's a personal choice. And apologize. If you need to apologize for something you've done, even if it was indirectly, that can release the guilt. But no matter how you're going to release it, you have to work through it, because it will stay on you and it will stay heavy. And I wanted to just give you an affirmation or two to deal with guilt. So you can just say to yourself, you know what? I did the best I could at that time. So you just close your eyes, when you're feeling really heavy. I did the best I could at that time. And you can say, nobody has to understand my story. Nobody has to understand the reason for what I did. I'm confident in my decision. So even if you feel guilty, just be confident with what you've done and just release it. Or you could say, yep, okay, I made a mistake and it's okay. I made a mistake, it's okay. Because it is okay. We all make mistakes. We've all been there. Nobody is perfect. So I hope this message is speaking to you. I have something special coming I'm very excited about in early June. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek, but I'm not going to give it today, so stay tuned for it. And I'm also considering having a once a month support circle Zoom call. So give me a thumbs up if you would like to do that. I know I'm speaking to you, but if you would like to be in an actual round table, maybe once a month, give me a thumbs up and let me know if you'd be interested. Also, please fill out the poll so I know what you want to talk about next week. Have a wonderful day, and I hope this message spoke to you.